Right now at noon, electric delivery vans go up in flames in southwest Portland. What we know is crews work to figure out what happened. And it is a KGW weather impact alert day with hot temperatures blasting the region. Find out where you can stay cool. Plus,
there are children who are playing on this green space right now.
Neighbors around Washington Park pushing back on a new plan that would take away local green space. Hear what might take its place. And taking a live look from our Rose City Sky camera, where we are expecting temps to creep into the 90s today. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us on this Weather Impact Alert Day. I'm Tim Gordon. We want to turn things right over to meteorologist Rod Hill now, who's up on the weather deck and keeping track of the heat advisories across the region. Hey, Rod.
Yeah, hi, Tim. And I'm still saying, it's not a guarantee that we make it to 90. I'm going to leave today's forecast at 93, but if we stop at 88, 89, I won't be surprised. I just looked at the wind patterns. Usually you want an east wind, not always, but often you want an east wind to help guarantee a 90-degree temperature. And so far the easterlies are not getting over the Cascades, and they're washing out in the gorge as well. And in fact, we're still comfortably in the 70s right now. I can feel from the weather deck, brought to you by Rick's Custom Fencing and Decking, a breeze that's mostly from the north at this point. Now, the Weather Service has a heat advisory now in effect through tomorrow. This starts in Salem and then extends northward up to Seattle and goes through the Columbia River Gorge. So let's go to the next graphic. I still believe that the temperature potential range, with tomorrow being the hottest, is anywhere from 90 to about 96 on the high end. Like 90 might be the high end today. 96 would certainly be the high end of potential tomorrow. And if you're going to be out in the sun this afternoon, by all means, have a cool water bottle with you and keep yourself hydrated. So right now, we expected to still be in the 70s at noon, and we are. 77 degrees down in Salem. Let's check out the Rose City camera and the temperature currently out of PDX. There's the sunny blue that we're seeing, 76 degrees in Portland. We are starting to warm. Here's what the hour by hour shows. And this has a reasonable chance of being exactly right. It gets up to about 90 at 4 o'clock, so a big afternoon warm up. And then we hold right around 90, give or take, for a high temperature this afternoon. Again, tomorrow, whatever we end up with today, tomorrow will be the hottest of the two. We'll talk about that. And then we have something coming that we really need. What do we need? Falls on your head. It's kind of wet. We'll talk about that coming up too, Tim, in just a little bit.
Well, keep us in suspense, but we think we may know. Thanks, Rod, very much. Well, with the heat, a social services group in the Salem area will be operating cooling centers today and tomorrow to keep people safe from the worst of the heat. The Mid-Willamette Valley Community Action Agency will have 3 centers running from 1 to 7 p.m. They'll be at the Arches Day Center, Woodburn Shelter, and the Family First Day Center, the first 2 only for adults. The agency will also have outreach teams across Marion and Polk counties. With these hotter temperatures, local nonprofit groups that offer home cooling assistance are reaching out to help out. The Community Action Partnership of Oregon says renters and homeowners need to know there is energy assistance and weatherization training available for those struggling to keep their homes cool.
These joint investments ensure that homes are more resilient to extreme heat and that cooling investments don't lead to unaffordable bills and additional health and safety concerns.
Another group, the Community Energy Project, is also trying to help with free heat pump water heater installations, plus classes on weatherizing for those who qualify. The City of Portland also has a project that installs air conditioning units for seniors and people who are low income, but there's a waiting list for that. To contact Cooling Portland about getting a unit, you can call 311. New at noon, Vancouver police are investigating after they say a 14-year-old boy was shot over the weekend. Police say it happened Saturday morning around 1 o'clock near the 2900 block of General Anderson Avenue. Witnesses say they saw about 20 people outside and a car leaving the area. Officers say they found a 14-year-old with non-life-threatening gunshot wound. It was to the leg. He was taken to a hospital. Police arrested a 17 and 18-year-old at the scene on separate charges. No arrests have been made for the actual shooting, and no suspects have been identified by police. Meanwhile, crews are working to figure out what sparked a fire that destroyed 4 electric delivery vans near OHSU this morning. Portland firefighters say they were called to the area of Southwest Gibbs Street just before 2 o'clock in the morning. Firefighters say crews found 4 vans fully engulfed in flames and quickly knocked down the fire to keep it from spreading. No injuries were reported. And we have an update on a reckless driver caught on camera blowing through traffic lights, swerving onto the shoulder and running across the interstate. Portland police now say the incident led to a major drug bust and 2 arrests. It all happened Saturday evening. You could see officers going after a driver on Columbia Boulevard after he eluded a traffic stop. These are all ODOT cameras we're seeing here. And after that, it looks like the driver hit a spike strip. He continued driving onto I-205. A short while after that, the driver stopped near Airport Way, and 2 suspects jumped out of the car and over the concrete divider, ran across the interstate there. Police say they caught up and arrested a 17-year-old driver and a 19-year-old passenger. After searching the car, investigators say they seized more than 8 pounds of fentanyl, a lot of cash you see there too. Both suspects are facing drug charges and charges related to eluding police. Well, just days after a new peace agreement, President Trump is issuing new warnings against Iran after they threatened to once again close the Strait of Hormuz. Vice President J.D. Vance is leading the U.S. delegation as high-stakes talks between the U.S. and Iran continue today in Switzerland. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington, D.C.
High-stakes peace talks with Iran entering a second day today after a marathon first round Sunday in Switzerland, with Vice President J.D. Vance leading the U.S. negotiating team focused heavily on Iran's nuclear program and the potential to lift U.S. sanctions.
If they are willing to give up nuclear weapons ambitions for the long term, then the United States is willing to fundamentally transform our relationship with that country.
At the same time, President Trump telling Fox News in a Sunday morning phone interview that he told the Iranians directly if they close the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. will, quote, blow the S out of them and they won't have a country. Iran claimed over the weekend that it did close the strait, though the U.S. disputes that. The president also posted a threat to hit Iran very hard again unless it stops its proxies in Lebanon, a reference to Hezbollah militants whose continued fighting with Israel risks derailing the broader peace deal, as Democrats slam the president's approach.
An arsonist starting a fire and getting credit for running out of the burning building. This president has led this nation into a disaster. We have surrendered our power.
The U.S., along with mediators Qatar and Pakistan, say they've already made great progress, establishing a high-level committee to oversee technical talks aimed at reaching a final deal within the next 60 days that will need to overcome looming obstacles. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Here's a look at some national headlines this afternoon. Music mogul Clive Davis has died at the age of 94. Davis is credited with finding and promoting some of music's most famous names, like Whitney Houston, Bruce Springsteen, and Janis Joplin. He's also credited with revitalizing other famous acts, including Rod Stewart, Aretha Franklin, and Carlos Santana. Davis died Monday in New York. A member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Davis won 5 Grammys. Former Federal Reserve Chair Alan Greenspan has died at the age of 100 years old. His wife, NBC News correspondent Andrea Mitchell, says he passed away at home from complications of Parkinson's disease. Greenspan was the second longest serving Fed chair in history. His more than 18-year tenure started with a 1987 nomination, ending with his 5th term under George W. Bush in 2006. Greenspan is remembered for shaping the U.S. economy, often earning praise for his work. But some claim he's partly responsible for the financial meltdown that occurred after his tenure as chair. The Trump administration could withhold tens of millions of dollars in federal security funds to states unless the states agree to a number of election changes. According to CNN, in order to get Homeland Security grant money, states would need to phase out certain electronic voting systems and use handwritten paper ballots. Voter names would also need to be run through a controversial DHS database that verifies citizenship. DHS grants, which states apply for, total about $1 billion a year. They're used by state and local governments to combat terrorism, protect infrastructure, and prepare for major disasters.